Hey guys, welcome back to Canadian Gears. This is our gearhead portion where we're going to be working on this custom Harley chopper. We are going to do some work on the primary cover. This seal here that you see is the seal for the shifter. It's been leaking for quite a while, so we have to replace this. And in order for us to replace this properly, we have to remove the primary cover, which also means replacing the gasket. So we have here the new seal, the new gasket, and we also have a full quart of the transmission primary chain lubricant, which is what we have to replace once we get it out of there. What I've also done is, because we're not working at home right now, I've taken a piece of cardboard, and I know there's 13 bolts going around, so I punctured 13 holes and I've numbered them so that when I start from the first bolt, I will put the bolts in here in a specific order, and then I got 4 more bolts over here for the derby cover. So stick around and we'll move over to the bike now and we'll do a segment and we'll show you how it's done there. Okay guys, we're sitting here at the Sportster. Now as you've seen, I've already started removing some of the stuff. I've removed the gear shifter here from this. I've already loosened up the primary chain tensioner underneath. Now what I'm doing here is here's what we call the derby cover. I am removing the cover and you will see inside here there's a spring, so we can pull this little spring off. And usually the lock nut comes off with this, and this is what we want. So we will put this aside and we'll start working on that. This here is the clutch adjustment, okay? What we want to do is when we're taking the primary cover off, you want to put a flat head in there, and what we're going to do is we're going to turn it clockwise while we're removing the cover so that nothing else falls out. So we're going to start removing all the nuts over here, which we've already done using our Allen head, which is on the wrong socket here, sorry about that. I'm not working from home this time, we're still out in BC, so we're going to remove everything here, but everything seems to be coming off already really nicely. So let's do this, and we'll have the cardboard so we can put them all in. So this here will be number 1, so I'm going to place this in the number 1 of the cardboard that I've punctured holes in already here, so I can just get it in there, and we're just going to keep going with the nuts. So this way here, some of them aren't always the same length, right? So you want to make sure you're getting them out. Eventually the client said that they're going to replace these nuts. They want to buy an anodized bolt kit that's colored, so we're just going to keep doing this until we're ready to take the cover off. Hey guys, we got the bolts off here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to remove the primary cover. Now in order to do this on these bikes, what you have to do is you have to put your screw in here, your screwdriver I mean, sorry, and you have to turn this, okay, clockwise to get the adjuster out as you're slowly removing the cover, and you'll see that everything will come off as you remove. So we wiggle it a little bit, and I'm going to keep turning this, and eventually, because all this part comes out with the cover on the Sportsters. Now on the non-Sportster bikes, you don't need to do this. See what I mean? This is just for the clutch adjustment. Now because it's a custom chopper, I was unable to drain the oil because the the oil drain plug was in the way of the frame. So we're just letting the oil drain out now as we're doing this. So we'll continue here to get this. Okay, we've got the primary cover off. As you'll see here, we've got the chain tensioner down here. We're going to check for some wear. There's nothing abnormal there. This is pretty normal what we're seeing here. We're going to pull the, you can see the spring from the shifter seal came off. So we're going to inspect the shifter seal, make sure everything's nice and good. We'll replace the gaskets, and then we'll come back and we'll do the whole replacement of the gasket, and we'll replenish this thing with some fresh oil. And we'll inspect the chain, we'll inspect everything. Everything looks good here already, so, and we'll be right back as soon as we put this back together.
Blah 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 blah.
Hey guys, welcome back to Canadian Gears. This is our interview portion. I'm here with Jeff Pennock, who's going to share his story about a motorcycle accident he had. Jeff, I understand you don't go on camera very much. I really appreciate you doing this interview for us. It's actually a privilege for us to have you here, so thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I understand that you were involved in a motorcycle accident somewhat in the 90s or something like that?
Yeah, 1998, it was early evening. I was on my way to work, and I had a tow truck turn left in front of me. and I went head on into the passenger door of it, and basically bounced backwards is what they told me after the fact we found this out. Yeah, it was quite the impact.
How fast were you traveling at the time, do you recall?
I think it was 80 posted there, 80 kilometers an hour.
Yeah, so that would have been travel. That's
I think
quite a
that's
speed
what
to
it
hit
was.
a tow truck at. So you hit this tow truck and you said you bounced back and everything, so you obviously ended up in the hospital. So how severe were the injuries and how long were you in the hospital?
Injuries were severe. I had multiple compound fractures. I was in the hospital altogether at the beginning for about 2.5 months before I was released. Yeah.
Wow. So 2.5 months laid on your back, and so in those 2.5 months, I guess there were some surgeries going on. You had a really bad leg.
Yeah.
I understand that they offered amputation at some point, or it was a better route. I don't know if you could explain that a bit.
They did. They let me know that I'd be up and mobile quicker if they did amputate, and then put me in a good prosthetic, and my recovery time would have been considerably shorter. I expressed that I was very grateful that they gave me the opportunity to make that choice, and I said no, I'd rather do everything that we can to save it. They explained that there's going to be multiple surgeries over a lengthy period of time, and he said, be honest with you, most people wouldn't want to go through what you're going to have to go through to keep your leg. I said, that's definitely the road I want to go. I never want to have to sit and wonder what if. So
you decided to opt for all these multiple surgeries. Now, how long did this stretch out, the surgeries, and roughly how many surgeries did you have on your leg?
Like we said, I was in the hospital for about 2.5 months, and then from there they released me to home, where they had a hospital bed in my living room set up.
Really?
Yeah, and I was basically there long enough to get strong enough to go to the next surgery. So then they'd I'd get taken back to the hospital. They'd do whatever surgery they needed to do at that time, because it was all in kind of different steps.
Yeah.
And then once the surgery was done and I was in the recovery and strong enough to go home, then they'd send me home back to the hospital bed and get strong and heal up enough to go for the next surgery. This went on for about 2.5 years altogether between surgeries, and I think there's over a dozen surgeries they did.
That's a lot of time to be going around, and you're doing a lot of surgeries off and on. So obviously your body was going through a lot of stuff, your leg was going through a lot of stuff. Now, at one point, was there ever any doubt of the healing? Was there anything that the doctors would try to push amputation again later on, or?
The infection. I had some serious troubles with infection, and infection in the bone. And there was other times where they had to go with a surgery just to open me up to put in these antibiotic beads inside my leg.
Oh wow!
So it was a pretty drastic approach to really isolate the concentration of these antibiotics into the leg again to try and save it. And through these doctors and the technology that's out there and everything, they were able to save it, and very fortunate to have, at this time of our lives, the medical technology to be where it is.
So I guess I see you're a pretty broad guy. I guess that kind of helped out when you accident. You were already pretty strong physically, so it was helping you carry you through. Now, where are you at now with your leg? Is there any next step? Is there anything going on right now to help you, better that down?
For sure, it's kind of the light at the end of the tunnel is getting closer.
Okay.
Through all those surgeries, the basic end game is I'll get a knee kit, and what they'll do is re-x-ray me again, have a look and make sure the areas that had defects, like in my femur, will be strong enough to accept the trauma, basically, of the knee kit getting put into my leg.
Yeah.
I went about 2 years ago to kind of touch base with my doctor. I was getting a little antsy and going, are we getting close to getting a knee kit?
Yeah.
And the x-rayed me, says, well, he says, we're still concerned about a defect that's there. If it blows out when we try to put it in, it's going to be big trouble.
So they really want to make sure that when they do it, it'll be done right, it'll be solid, it'll work well for you. and it's something that, you know, now once you have this knee, I guess it'll really help you with pain and whatnot, right? So you're talking about pain management right now, where you always have pain.
Exactly. Having the knee kit is going to be awesome. I'll have no pain. I'll pretty well walk normal. I'll be able to do all the things that, you know, there's some things I'm just physically unable to do right now.
Yeah.
Once I get the knee kit, it should be.
That'll help you out a lot.
It'll definitely help out a lot.
One of my main questions is, you had this motorcycle accident, so you were on, I believe you said it was a Harley you were on, and you hit. How were you feeling mentally after this accident? Did you ever have the thought of never riding again?
No, I never for a second thought I'd never ride again. It's been riding since I was a little kid. It's something I absolutely love to do.
Yeah.
And you know, it wasn't the motorcycle's fault. It turns out it wasn't even my fault. I was 100% in the right, but the actions of somebody else changed everything.
Changed the course of your life. This is, you know, things like this for our viewers is, we hope that we get a message out there. It's important to watch where you're going, where you're driving, whether it's a motorcycle, whether it's a truck, a car, it doesn't matter. We always have to keep an eye out for each other on the road. And, you know, in your case, you were, you know, this gentleman turned left right in front of you, so obviously he wasn't paying attention, or he has, you know, bad judgment on speed or something, right? And it drastically changed your life. Now, you had something forward to look up to, because you were, you know, you wanted to ride again. You said you wanted to ride again. Did you start riding again?
Absolutely, and probably about an hour sooner than I should have. I went through a whole process, as you can imagine. Once the surgeries were done to, you know, start to strengthen, to put load bearing on my legs, being in a wheelchair for so long, and then it was braces. We got fitted with a brace that goes into the boot, and then it locks at the knee and goes all the way up to pretty well your groin area, and the back of it rests on the ball of the bone. So it really helps to
support the leg
and take some of the weight off. And then it was learning how to walk with a walker, with all the braces, and then it was crutches, and then from crutches it was the 2 canes with still 2 braces, and then it just all eventually went down to 1 cane, 1 brace. And
so you eventually wanted to get back into riding after you were healing up, and you mentioned, you know, an hour too soon. You went out and bought a bike when? I
was still in a wheelchair when I bought the bike. A friend of mine showed me a picture of a V-Rod when it was in a magazine still. They weren't even out. I said, oh, that's what I want right there. I thought that was a pretty awesome bike, and called Trev Dealey Motorcycles and said, hey, I want one of those O2 V-Rods when they come out. Put me on a waiting list, and can't remember how long it was, but some time went by and they gave me the call and said, hey, your bike's ready. Yeah. And I said, okay, well, I'm not really. I'm still in the chair here, so. You weren't ready to ride. Right. Mentally I was, physically no. So I said, hey, can I change my day or my order to a 2003 and get the 100th anniversary model? Yeah. They were very accommodating, said no problem, and oh, that's very nice of them. That's really cool. Absolutely, and sure enough, I don't know again how much time went by, but they gave me the call. The bike was ready, and they delivered it to my home, and it sat in my garage until I was ready to get on it. So you must have been pretty antsy having that thing in your garage, right? Dude. I can imagine how many times you probably rolled out there in the garage and sat there and probably tried to look at the bike and probably polished it up a few times, even though you never rode it. Yeah. Sure. So now you've been riding your bike. Now, when you're out on the road, how are you feeling? Are you feeling more cautious? Are you more defensive? Or did any of that change in your mentality when you're out there? To a certain extent, yeah. Like I was always a cautious driver, safe rider. But you still can't, you know, think what other people are doing. So when I'm out there, I'm extra conscious of, you know, anything on the road, because exactly. You know, you never know what that person or might be doing or not doing that they're supposed to, or so try and give as much room to everybody as possible. So what I'm hearing here is a message from Jeff probably saying, you know, when you're out there, you're driving or riding your bike,
is to make sure you have enough room everywhere around you so that you have time to stop and all that. We know sometimes things are impossible, you know, physics play a role in everything. You know, you've changed your life drastically, and now you're back, you're on a motorcycle. I noticed too that you, when you have to sit on your motorcycle, you have to get on it in a different way now. Can you explain sort of how you have to get on your bike because of your leg?
Yeah, it's pretty unorthodox. I have to walk up to the bike, sit on the passenger pillion, and grab my right leg, swing it over the bars, then slide down to the driver's spot, and then I'm ready to go.
You're ready to go.
Yeah.
Now, once you have your knee and all that, is that going to change for you? Will you be able to have a little more support on your leg?
I think so.
You think so?
I don't know for sure
So
until I get it,
you're
but
hoping for that.
I would imagine so. Yeah.
So now you've done all this, and you know, you're back on the bike. You're out riding a lot. And then you started this life-changing endeavor for you now, which is, you know, Vridetv, which is, you know, something we're going to talk about in the other segment. But you're doing that now, so you're getting out there and you're putting a lot of miles on this bike, right?
Yeah.
And you got like over 140K on this thing right now.
Yeah.
And so, and you started riding, what, late 2003 maybe?
Yeah, late 2003, maybe even 2004.
Really?
And when I started, the actual first place I went was the site of my accident. Rode there and just kind of sat for probably 10-15 minutes and just kind of reminisced and just again, you know, you get an overwhelming rush of how grateful you are to be alive.
Yeah.
You know, and how grateful I am and fortunate I am to have a wife that stood by me, family and friends that went above and beyond to help me get through a really tough time in my life.
It would have been a tough time too, and I know what it's like when somebody's not feeling well and all that. You probably have to, you know, you get the crankies and everything, right, going in there. So
I don't imagine that was too much fun to be around some
You know,
days.
props to his wife. I met his wife, and she's an absolutely amazing person. You're very fortunate to have, you know, your wife in your life because, like you said, she was a great support. So now, when you got out there, the first day you went out and rode, and you saw the accident site and everything. What was your overall feeling when you were out there on the road? Did you have this sense of, oh yeah, I'm back? You know, this is like a big comeback for you?
This is what all my hard work was for. This moment right now.
It was worth it for you.
Absolutely.
Right? It was worth it. Guys, we'll be back. We're going to talk with Jeff again afterwards about his new endeavor, Vridetv.com. We have a big special interview coming up for that. Jeff, thank you so much. You know what? It's been phenomenal. Congratulations to you. Again, guys, this is a great inspiration here. You never give up on your dreams. If you're out there riding a motorcycle and something happens to you, look at this guy, man. He's back out there. Anyway, stay tuned. We'll be back very shortly. Take care. Bye-bye now.
Well, Saturday night and I just got paid. About the money, don't try to save. My heart says go, go. Have a time for the Saturday night. And baby, how I feel fine. I'm gonna rock it up. I'm gonna rip it up. I'm gonna shake it up. I'm gonna break it up. I'm gonna lock it up at the ball tonight.
Hey guys, welcome back to Canadian Gears. Some of you might remember the rockin' 50s, and you might remember such a car like this if you were back in the day then. Horace sure remembers this car because he's the owner of this fantastic 57 Chevrolet Belair convertible, which back then was called a ragtop. Hey man, thank you for joining us and thank you for showing this machine. Can you tell us a little bit about this car and the picture, what's going on with this picture and what the significance is with this car in that picture?
Sure, I'd be glad to. This car was an original Canadian car, number 555 off the production line out of 1,100 Canadian cars built in convertibles in 1957.
And which production line was this?
Oshawa, Ontario.
In Oshawa.
And General Motors built 47,000 convertibles in 57. And in Canada they built 1,100. And this is number 555. the story behind the car and the picture is that I cut my teeth on a 57 Chevy when I was 14. I fell in love with them ever since. And I've always wanted a convertible. Convertible is the creme of the crop. And I've always had project cars around here, rust buckets, and growing up, raising a young family, just didn't have the time. 2 jobs and
so a working man.
Yeah, absolutely. And so in '88, we were out in Edmonton to our relative's place for Christmas, and they were driving us back to the airport. And we come around the corner. My sister-in-law says to me, "Horst, there's your car." I says, "Where?" She says, "Right up there on that billboard." And I looked, and there was that picture. This was plastered on a billboard. The story behind this is that Palm Dairies in Edmonton, or in Alberta, had a promotion. They wanted to promote milk. So I don't know exactly how many cars they raffled off, but there's a number kicked around between 7 and 10 cars that were raffled off.
So they were taking older, so these guys were, this was like 1988 you were saying?
Yeah, 1988.
So they were taking old 57 Chevs, some were being restored, and they were raffling them off to try to promote milk.
Yes, and what they did was they made them road safe, and they had girls drive these things around the province to promote the raffle.
Oh, nice.
And so anyway, I never saw anything more about this. A year later, my brother-in-law calls me, and he says, "I know where there's a 57 Chevy convertible for sale." And just so happens, he is a Mac tool salesman, and he called on this guy that owned this convertible, Vic.
So this exact car, right in the picture.
This same car right here. And so I had that in my, I got his phone number off him, and but in the meantime, I found the guy that bought 2 of the raffle cars, and I went down to buy one of the raffle cars.
Yeah.
I had to hang all the, this was in Edmonton, I had to hang all the sheet metal, all the chrome and the bumpers and everything back on the car, because I was bringing it out with an auto transport, and I didn't want to lose any of the parts. So I spent all day there, hung all the parts on it. I went to start the car, the starter was shot in it, so I jacked the car up to get the starter out and found the frame was rotten. I said, "That's it.
That's a no-go.
That's a no-go right there." So I called Vic up and I said, "You still got that convertible?" He says, "Yeah." I says, "I want to come out and see it." So I drove out to Gibbons, Alberta to see it, and opened the garage door, and it was just like this. I haven't done anything to the car since I bought it. I'll tell you a few things that I've done to it, but we made a deal. He let me use his plates to drive it back to BC, and lo and behold, here I am. I still have the car 30 years later.
And the original picture. The one you saw on the billboard that your friend pointed at, and you have this car.
This car was used as the advertising. It wasn't one of the raffle cars. Funny story, I should maybe throw in here. When my son and I were driving this car home through the Rockies, we got to Valemont, and there was an RCMP road check.
Okay.
And of course, they seen us coming around the corner and pulled us over. So it happened to be one of the RCMP guys. He happened to be from the Solon Classic Car Division. So he pulls me over, and registration. So I give him the registration. Of course, it's still registered in Vic's name, with all the license. So he opens the door and he says, "Where's the VIN tag?" I said, "Well, the VIN tag's not on the door. It's underneath the hood on the firewall. Yeah. All Canadian cars have the VIN tag on the firewall." He says, "Oh, no, they don't. They just put it there for the ease of the mechanic." I said, "No, no, no." I said, "Canadian cars had their VIN tags on the cowl. American cars had their VIN tag on the A-pillar.
Okay.
And the trim tag was underneath the hood." Oh, he wouldn't believe me. So I thought, well, I'm in the middle of nowhere. I got my young son with me.
Yeah.
It's cold. Do I give him attitude, or
just go along with it?
You know, so I did. And he gave me a ticket. Had 10 days to rectify it.
Yeah.
So I got back here and I wrote General Motors in Oshawa, called their 800 number, and for $50 they sent me out a build sheet on the car, where it was built, and the serial number issues, and I had the Canadian service manuals have the location of the VIN tag on the cowl on it, and so I forwarded this all to the policeman, and I said to him, I said, "Oh, by the way, anytime you need some advice on 567 Chevys, don't hesitate to call. Never heard anything more about it.
So 567, just so everybody knows, this is a group of guys that deal with the 55, 56, and 57 Chevys. And Horace here is one of the guys, just so we want to clarify that.
Yeah, I had a parts business for close to 25 years. We were called Classic Bowtie Connection. I had customers all over North America. We ship parts worldwide, Australia, Sweden. I mean, the hobby is just, you know, the collector car hobby is worldwide, especially American cars, you know. And we had a great time. Me and my wife did it all, and we've traveled all over the place with this. This is not a trailer queen. This is, I drive this car every day in the summertime,
so
everywhere.
You put miles on this thing.
I put miles on
this vehicle.
Absolutely.
Okay. We'll be right back. We're going to talk about the car right after this. Stay tuned.
So how we do